Hello. Tonight's story invites you to return to a countryside cottage that has been closed for the winter months. The fields have been resting and the hedgerows quiet. The narrow path leading to the door undisturbed except for wind and weather. And all winter long the house has stood patiently, its windows shuttered, its furniture covered and its rooms holding their shape in stillness. And as the late afternoon begins to fade, when the sky is pale gold and the air is cool but no longer sharp, and that hush that belongs to the countryside when the day is preparing to fold itself away. And you turn the key slowly in the lock, and the door opens, and you return back to the house that has been closed all of winter. Allow yourself to get comfortable. Somewhere you do not need to hold yourself upright. Somewhere your body can be supported fully. There is nothing required of you now. You can just let the surface beneath you take your weight. And just notice that you are here. Notice the natural rhythm of your breath without changing it at first, just observing it. Air moving in, air moving out. And gradually allow that out breath to become a little longer than the in breath. Not forced, not measured, just slightly extended, as though something is gently leaving. Again, breathing in comfortably. And letting the breath move out slowly, longer, softer. And you may notice a subtle sense of space beginning to widen inside of you, like air circulating where it has been still. And the muscles around the eyes are softening now, and the forehead smoothing and the throat open and easy. Breathing in and allowing the breath to leave slowly, as though clearing what is no longer needed. And there is no effort here. No work, just a gradual easing, a sense that the body understands how to settle. The chest rising lightly and falling a little more fully, and perhaps the space between breaths widen just slightly. Simply allow yourself to drift away with that breath. as though an internal window has been unlatched. Allow the fresh air moving quietly through, breathing in and letting that breath move out longer and slower still, unhurried. There is space here. There is time. And you do not need to hold on to anything at all. And soon we'll step into the story. But for now, you can remain here, supported, breathing, light, open. You arrive at the wooden gate in the soft light of late afternoon, and it stands exactly where it always has, weathered slightly by the winter months, its grain lifted a little by the rain, and its latch cool beneath your hands. The fields beyond it stretch quietly outward, long grass shifting in slow, uneven patterns, a hedgerow resting along the boundary, and the sky leaning gently toward the evening. You lift the latch. The gate opens with a low, familiar sound. Not loud, not sharp, just wood moving against wood. And the path beyond is narrow and lightly worn. Small stones pressed into the earth, edges softened by months of weather. No footprints except your own, and the cottage waits at the end. Its walls are pale in the fading light, windows shuttered, chimney still. There is no movement yet, only structure. Solid walls, straight lines, the steady shape of something built to last. You walk towards the door. The air carries a faint coolness. Not winter now, but the memory of it lingering in shade. The key rests easily in your hand. It fits the lock without hesitation. And there is a brief resistance as it turns, a quiet reminder that the door has not been opened for some time. Then the mechanism gives. The door shifts inward slowly. Air meets air. Inside, the light enters first. It stretches across the wooden floor in a pale band. Dust drifts lazily through the beam, not thick, Not heavy, just visible. The furniture stands beneath white sheets, chairs softened into rounded shapes, the table a long, low outline, shelves muted behind thin fabric, and everything remains in its place, nothing disturbed. The walls hold their calm, the ceiling beams steady overhead, the floorboards unmoved. This house has not changed its shape. It has simply waited for you to step inside. And the sound is different here. It's contained and still. And a room tone that belongs only to an enclosed space echoes around you. The door closes behind with a quiet final sound. And for a moment there is complete stillness. The cottage does not resist your presence. It does not startle. It receives you the way solid structures do, without comment. The late afternoon light continues to angle inward, softening edges, tracing lines across covered surfaces, and you stand within it, surrounded by walls that know their own weight, by rooms that remember their proportions, and the air rests lightly in place, waiting. The first sheet rests over the nearest chair, and it falls in loose folds to the floor. Corners touch slightly beneath the legs. You lift one edge, and the fabric rises easily. A faint line of dust shifts in the light as the sheet moves upward. And for a moment it holds its shape in the air, and then collapses softly into your hands. And the chair beneath is unchanged, wood, smooth, cushioned slightly faded by last year's sun. You fold the sheet slowly, once, then twice. The sound is dry and light. The second chair waits, then the small side table, then the long table near the window. Each sheet lifts with the same gentle resistance, each one releasing the shape it has protected. As fabric is removed, the room begins to sharpen. edges clearer, surfaces visible again. Light travels further now. It reaches across bare wood instead of white cloth. The window stands closed, latch drawn tight, and you cross the room and rest your fingers against the metal. Cool but not cold. The latch lifts with a small, deliberate motion. The window opens inward, slowly. At first only a narrow gap, and then air enters carefully. It moves across the sill, then along the floor. A faint shift in temperature. A slight stirring in the curtains, and you open the window wider. The breeze becomes more certain now. It moves beneath the table, around the legs of the chairs, across the walls. The room does not change dramatically. It simply begins to circulate. The scent is subtle. Earth, grass, distant hedgerow. And outside the fields remain steady. Inside the stillness loosens as the last of the sheets are folded and placed neatly aside. And the front room stands uncovered now. Furniture is visible. Windows are open. Light lengthening as afternoon thins towards evening. And you pause only briefly and then move toward the kitchen. The kitchen door opens with a softer sound than the front room. The air here feels slightly closer, more contained. The table at the center of the room rests beneath its covering. A simple cloth this time, edges hanging unevenly towards the door. You lift it gently. The fabric releases a faint trace of dust into the light. Not enough to cloud the air, just enough to catch the last pale gold of the afternoon. The table beneath is solid, wood grain visible again. Small marks from previous seasons, rings from cups, a faint scratch near one corner. Nothing new, nothing altered. The chairs are uncovered one by one, each movement unhurried, each surface revealed without ceremony. The cupboards line the wall in quiet rows. Handles are cool to the touch. You open one, then another, then another. further, not searching, simply allowing air to reach the interior spaces. The faint scent of enclosed wood begins to thin. The window above the sink holds a narrow pane of glass, and its latch is firmer than the one in the front room. Takes a little more pressure to lift, and then it loosens. The window opens outward slowly. Air moves differently here. It carries the open field directly towards the back of the cottage. A small shift in sound. Distant birds calling as they prepare to settle. A far-off gate closing somewhere across the land. The curtain near the sink stirs once, then again. A light reaches across the counter, touches the edge of the cupboard doors, slides along the worn floorboards, and the room adjusts. Not brighter, not louder, just less sealed. You stand for a moment as air passes through both rooms now. Front window open, kitchen window open, a gentle current forming. Not strong, just steady. The cottage begins to breathe between its walls, and you leave the cupboard slightly ajar. Nothing dramatic, just enough for circulation. The kitchen no longer feels paused. It feels present again. And outside, the sky lowers towards dusk. The gold fades into a softer grey blue. And inside, the edges of objects soften slightly in the dimming light. You move towards the hallway now. The staircase is waiting. And the staircase carries your weight with a quiet, familiar sound. Wood responding gently beneath each step. Not creaking sharply. Just acknowledging movement. And upstairs, the air feels slightly cooler, more settled. The first bedroom door stands closed, and you turn the handle slowly. The room opens into soft, dim light. Curtains drawn thin across the window. The bed rests beneath a carefully placed sheet, edges tucked loosely at the corners. The surface smooth and undisturbed. You cross the room and lift the covering. The fabric rises in one calm motion. Air catches beneath it briefly. Then it falls inward as you gather it into your arms. The bed beneath appears smaller than memory, neater, contained, pillow slightly flattened from months of rest. You fold the sheet once and then twice. Place it carefully across the chair in the corner, and the wardrobe stands closed. You open its doors, air entering the enclosed space. The scent of wood and stillness loosening almost immediately. Then the window. Its latch is tight but patient. You press. It releases. The window opens outwards into the late day air, and the breeze reaches this room more gently, higher up, softer. It brushes the curtain, moves across the bed, touches the wooden floor near your feet, and outside the fields stretch further from this height. Hedgerows becoming darker shapes, sky thinning toward evening blue. The bedroom adjusts quietly, edges less rigid now, air no longer held in place. And you leave the door open behind you as you step back into the hallway. The second door opens more easily. This room is smaller still. Light angled differently through its single window. The sheet over the bed is lighter here, thinner cotton, and it lifts almost without resistance. Dust flickers briefly in the narrowing daylight and then disappears. The mattress beneath is firm and unchanged. The bedside table holds nothing, only the faint outline where something once rested. You open the small drawer, then close it again, allowing air to pass through the space. The window faces the side field, and when opened, the breeze enters more directly, cooler now. Evening settling more fully across the land. The curtain lifts slightly and then falls again, lifts again. The room feels less enclosed, less paused, as though the season inside has shifted to match the one outside. Downstairs, air continues to move between open windows Upstairs, doors remain ajar. The cottage is no longer sealed. It stands open to the soft approach of night. Light fades gradually from gold to muted blue. Corners deepen, outlines soften. Nothing is rushed, nothing abrupt, only a steady renewal. And the windows remain open, not wide but just enough. Air moves quietly through the cottage, from front room to kitchen, from staircase to upstairs landing, through one bedroom and across the next. A gentle current, unseen, consistent. The walls hold their shape. The beams remain steady overhead. The floorboards rest beneath open space. Nothing is being moved now. Nothing lifted. Nothing adjusted. The sheets remain folded. The cupboards slightly open, the doors resting ajar. Evening deepens, and light thins across the floors, soft grey settling into corners. Outside the fields grow quieter, and inside the air continues to circulate, not strong enough to disturb, only enough to prevent stillness from sealing in again. The cottage stands balanced between inside and outside, between winter and spring, between day and night. Air enters and air leaves, and the rhythm continues. Upstairs curtains move once and then rest, and downstairs a small shift passes across the wooden table and then fades. The structure remains calm, contained, secure. Nothing unsettled, nothing waiting. The house does not hurry into the night. It just allows it, gradually, steadily. The temperature lowers slightly, cool but gentle. The sky outside darkens into an even deeper blue, and inside shapes soften further. Edges blur into quiet. And air continues to passage through open windows, through rooms that are now fully uncovered, through a space no longer closed. The cottage breathes in, and the cottage breathes out, not loudly, not dramatically, just enough. Night has fully arrived now. The last of the blue has deepened beyond the glass. Inside the cottage rests, rooms uncovered, air moving quietly. Nothing more to open, nothing more to adjust. The staircase holds its shape in shadow. The kitchen table stands bare beneath the dimness. Upstairs the beds rest in their places. The doors remain gently ajar, and there is no longer any movement to follow. Only the steady exchange of air, quiet structure of walls and beams, the soft rhythm continuing without effort. The house is no longer closed. It is no longer paused. It simply exists, balanced, breathing. And you do not need to remain with these rooms. You do not need to follow the air as it moves from window to window. The cottage will continue on its own. The windows will remain slightly open, and the fields beyond will stay dark and calm. Inside, the air will continue its gentle passage through the front room, through the kitchen, up the staircase, across the landing, into the bedrooms and back again. Nothing else is required. The structure is steady. The night is settled, and the rhythm continues quietly. You can allow the house to hold itself now. You can allow the air to move without you noticing. You do not need to stay with the words. The cottage remains. The windows remain. The air continues to breathe, and the night carries on softly.